right, click the links for Odyssey and Bit Chute, or to join channel, become a valued member, support channel, cough for the various other links. Go to Telegram. It is a good way to keep in touch. Even if you have to get a burner phone number to do it, you can get those free online if you hunt around, or literally get a burner phone or use Google Voice. Kind of anything. It's the cutting edge. Gab, Telegram, and Odyssey, I kind of think are going to be the path forward. We'll see what happens when to Odyssey when money starts becoming an issue. You can put people in a golden cage. You can put any website company in a golden cage. Anyway, so Hollywood, from Afro Hobbits to Afrovikings. I try to mentally. I'm gonna watch the Bad News Bears, the 1976 version tonight, because I saw a little clip on Telegram. Somebody posted some little clips from that movie. Like, holy cow, these little red-pilled kids. So I try to mentally get my head back in like the 70s and 80s and try to envision what this would be like back then. And, I imagine it like a clip from that Bad News Bears movie, if you know what I'm talking about. You'd laugh your ass off if somebody brought this to you in the 70s, 80s. Even in the 90s, you would just, like, everyone would laugh their ass off. Everyone, on both sides, everyone, across every aisle, every political bell curve, you would laugh your ass off. And really, it's like, I don't know what you call a three-dimensional bell curve. What's the topology of that? Afro-Vikings. It's like the black... Hebrew, I don't know if I could say some words are tricky for the YouTube algorithm. Those folks who are on the street corners saying the meme about we were people of royal bloodlines type of meme, which is kind of silly when you think about it, because monarchies are a hierarchy in any country from Africa to Ireland. It doesn't matter. There's not a whole lot of people sitting at the top of that apex. So it's like a small number of this ruling class hanging out in a castle, which probably wasn't all that great. Probably a little bit drafty and cold living in a castle. You pretty much need fires going all the time if you're living in a bunch of rocks. So you got a few people at the top, and then the bottom are just farmers or herdsmen, doing really boring stuff. Now, in blood tribes, you're actually going to be related to the royalty because you're all somewhat a blood tribe, no matter how attenuated. But there's only one king at a time. And, to be a prince is pretty cool, but to be a prince 2,000 years ago, it's like, okay, so you're getting fed better than the rest of the population, but it's not like you had an iPhone 2,000 years ago. So realistically, you're probably in illiterate herdsman or farmer. I mean, most of us. So for most of human history, some of my ancestors were actually Arab slave traders. So I have that feather in my cap. History is history. People were pirates and cutthroats. That was the way of the world. It's only now that history seems to trigger people. Oh, God, I'm so mad at humans for doing human stuff. You mean the stuff that, like, every human on Earth did? Yeah, but I'm only mad at some people for doing it because of the soft bigotry of lowered expectations. I expect more of you people and less of us. That's kind of what you're saying. If you kind of hear yourself say it, it's weird that they'd never hear themselves. The self-awareness for a lot of people is just nil. And to be fair, a lot of it's just a grift. There's grifting on the left, the right, the anti-right, and the anti-left. It's, if you can get that money, go for it, which is like with this chick, too. If I was her, I would have come out and been a little bit gentle and said, listen, this is fiction. We all know this is fiction. Fictionalized account. It's just going to be fun. We're going to tell a story, and it's going to be updated for the modern day. Obviously, it's fiction. We're not taking it too seriously. It's still going to be a cool story, even if it's not realistic. It's a fictional show. I would have taken a very light approach to it. She was kind of weird because she didn't take that light approach to it. She was taking the approach of, you guys need to educate yourself. We were Vikings. Like, well, usually the burden is on the moving party. She goes, do some research. Okay, well, this is where you'd provide some sources to that research. It's like, well, I don't actually have some sources, but I got to pay a check. And, I'm 60 years old, and I'm a half African Danish lady who got offered this role. She was a pop singer like 20 years ago or something, which is, an achievement because she was 40 when she was doing that. You get offered the role, you're going to take the role. I'm just saying, like, she took a weird, I don't know, like a woke approach to it to try to say like all this stuff actually happened. You're like, yeah, no, it didn't. Nobody believes that. It's weird that people look around modern era and look at what not angels all humans are, and then they like, oh well, you were supposed to behave differently 100 years ago or 200 years ago. It's like people are monsters around the world today. Why would you think that they were angels 400 years ago? Wouldn't it be logical to assume that things are going to just be, I don't know, worse exactly? It's like just more brutal, short-lived, nature red in tooth and claw, but it's humanity. It's like, what do you think those pirates were doing? Anyway, so everyone expects there to be like a king in their history, and then they learn their ancestors were known as the rapist of the high seas. Men, women, sheep, a bit of a rogue, great-great-granddad was. Apparently he enjoyed sitting in his throne made of human bones. Delightfully eccentric. But, God, I wish I had a budget to make shows. To make politically incorrect shows that were funny as hell. And just, threw hand grenade. You throw a hand grenade at everyone in every direction and just have fun with it. And it's like you see them tie themselves into hypocritical knots because they won't. You make fun of like Christians, Jews, Muslims, but they'll tie themselves in a knot to excuse the anti-Christian stuff, and then have pseudo outrage over every other group. You're like, yeah, this isn't real. You're just hypocrites. But like, you're not going to see that stuff. You're not going to get a budget for that. And like Netflix, HBO, all these streaming platforms, nobody's going to carry those shows. They carry shit like this, which. What would you rather do than watch this? Is it so bad it's good? No, because they're like, you can go on Odyssey. I'm going to watch the Bad News Bears. It's on Odyssey. You can download it from Odyssey, assuming it's legal in your area, and upload it to Telegram, assuming it's legal in your area, which someone may have done already earlier this afternoon. All these movies are on Odyssey, Bit Chute, and all these other various platforms. You don't have to support these people financially. You can go be like my great grandfather, a raping pirate, Arab pirate. Anyway, Hollywood has overplayed their hand here. Follow me. Black, trans, lesbian, Jewish, furry, otherkin Vikings from Saturn. People see how sick and twisted the coked up Hollywood types are. The stories, the narrative, obviously, it's absolutely effing insane. It's globalism mixed with a lot of Bolivian marching powder and probably a bottle of rum. So the tales now are nuts. No basis whatsoever in reality. Go do your research. No, it's that meme of the guy with the chin. Just, no, I don't want to do my research. I know this is all fake and the G word for lighthearted and frivolous. And the thing is, it's all really just a mask off propaganda moment of these globalist fantasies. So people slowly look back at the narrative that was pushed in prior films. The light bulb starts to flicker, waking up the normies. Just as I know saying normies is cringe, but I don't care. The light bulb starts to flicker over. It just means people kind of uninitiated. It is what it is. The light bulb starts to flicker, and people start to have this awakening, go down the rabbit hole, put on the They Live glasses, whatever. SGW seem to get triggered by a lot of this stuff, so you do whatever you can do to trigger them. Every time they cry, an angel gets their wings. Hollywood obviously lies now. I mean, if you're seeing stuff like this, if you're seeing this kind of stuff, yeah, it's safe to say that Hollywood is lying now. So you think, well, my gosh, they're kind of lying pretty obviously now. So what was happening back in the day? Oh, well, they were probably lying back then also, like 20 years ago. Maybe the lies were more subtle, and then 40 years ago, they were even more so. So Hollywood, the media, even schools, just, you see what's being taught in schools. It's like, oh, these are all lies. Everything's a lie. Everything they're putting out in the mainstream is a lie. So they probably also lied in the past. But not only do these globalists lie, they lie in a way that shows the shape of what they want to conceal. Yeah, that looks ridiculous. It looks ridiculous. I don't know where I guess you filmed in Ireland, but like everyone on the set must be looking at you and just doing lines of blow and just like cash those checks while you can. So combine this with the free speech social media sites, and the counter narrative starts to get out there. you associate Hollywood with lies along a certain narrative. That's what I mean when I say that they're showing their hand. Hollywood hates you. I know this audience pretty well. They don't love POCs. Not a chance of that. They just use them as a tool to hate the people of the light. This is called the humiliation ritual. It's what you do to a conquered people to let them know their place at the bottom. If people accept it, well, I just can't fathom that. Go down those rabbit holes as fast as you possibly can. Don't believe everything. Ask for evidence, but start at least asking questions and start looking on websites that are shadow banned. And the best way to find those is on Gab, Telegram, and Odyssey and Bit Chute. So I'm not saying to put heads on stakes and Soylent Green the bodies to the hogs or anything like that. Though I mean obviously that's an option if it was legal in your area. But you can also just name them, post the CEOs, the writers, the directors on alternative social media sites. These, so people can see, like, well, okay, who's behind this propaganda? Like, you see the public face of, Netflix cuties type of stuff. But you go, okay, well, who are the directors, the producers, who signed off on this? Who's the CEO of these companies? And who are these people? Let's take a little bit deeper look into who is pushing the narrative, because it's not, you can't get mad at the actor. It's just a paycheck to the actor. But you can also talk about these people and their narrative and try to find, correlations and coincidences to, who they are and what their narrative is, and to explain to people why it's important to obviously not support this kind of hatred financially. But don't just passively unsub or go sail the high seas for it, but actually take the time to spread the message on who they are, why they engage in this anti-people of the light behavior. And let me tell you, Gab, Telegram, Odyssey are freaking amazing at this. I've learned the shape of people's rage on those sites. It's really nice to see. Twitter is one narrative, and Telegram is something quite different. You really need to get on there to experience it yourself. It's absolutely worth getting a phone. The thing is, people have privacy concerns with using a phone number for Odyssey and Bit Chute. Just don't sub to any glowing accounts if you're going to use your own number. If you can use a Google Voice number for free, Google Voice is available on the App Store, where there's other burner sites. So it's like, you're going to be fine. Just don't follow any weirdos. And the thing is, I'm subbed to hundreds of these channels. It's like I haven't seen any glowing ops yet. So it's a pretty good place to start going down the rabbit hole, and it's fun. It's like I was thinking, like, these are the imaginary friends you had if you lived in the 1950s in some small town that were just brutally honest about everything. It's like, oh, that's Telegram. It's like if you took Gab and Fortune, I think, and just kind of distilled it. It's like, oh, that's the Telegram room. It's just people letting it all hang out. Anyway, so Vikings and Hobbits, Lord of the Rings, Marvel, DC, whatever, all this stupid shit. You must go beyond being passive. You must actively hate these people. They're bad people. And spread that message on alternative media sites. And dog whistle as much as you can on YouTube and Twitter and stuff. People look at Hollywood and CNN now, or even Biden, and they realize, yeah, this is all fake. It's all a big lie. Everything from these people is a lie. It's not anywhere near the truth. It's the narrative they want you to hear. Okay, we're lying now, but we were honest in the past. Well, it's more likely that they were also lying in the past. It's like once you impeach someone as to their veracity, you show a pattern of engaging in maliciously deceptive behavior. Well, it's like, did you just flick a switch? Were you honest in the past? That's like the liar's equation type of thing. It's like a collection of people whose very existence is centered in a lie, as if the truth is sunlight to a vampire. So no, there were no trans Vikings or sub-Saharan African Vikings. I don't think they had the wheel or domesticated animals. I don't think they even had ocean-going vessels. I don't know. You have to check me on that. But if they did, I kind of like they never had a reputation for like mastering the sail and cruising up and down the coastline and taking wives that way. They were kind of mostly doing it in country type of thing on land. So people in general, they don't like the other, no matter who the other is. So they're not likely to bring one into their tribe. The idea is Hollywood just Epstein, Weinstein level cocaine fueled nonsense. If you have to see this, is it so bad it's good? I really doubt it. I like it. That used to be there used to be a lot of stuff that was not self-aware that was so bad it's good. Like Mystery Science Theater covered a lot of that. And this is just propaganda, like mask off propaganda. It only gets worse from here. So if you have to see it, you can just go find it on various other sites. You don't actually have to, Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. See you guys on the next episode.